A lot to talk about today, but first, help us improve here on Golden State Warriors today. We want your feedback down in the comment section right now. How often do you watch the show? If it's daily, type D. If it's weekly, type W. If you're watching for the first time, give us a 1. We appreciate it, and let's talk some Warriors basketball. Welcome into Golden State Warriors today by Chat Sports, regardless of where you are or how you're tuned in. Thank you for watching the show. We certainly appreciate that. On the program today, a bold Bleacher Report trade idea. Could the Dubs trade for a big? They certainly need to fortify that front court. And could Golden State make an Austin Reaves trade? We're going to get to these 3 stories here, but there's another story that we have to hit, which just trickled out across NBA circles. The Phoenix Suns, in a surprising move, have waived Chris Paul. They will release him, making him one of the most sought-after free agents this upcoming offseason. He continues to get older, of course. He has been injured a lot throughout the playoffs, but this is a player who is so mentally savvy, has an extraordinarily high basketball IQ, and he is still looking for that first NBA championship, which is really the lone box that he needs to check in his NBA career. His numbers this past year, they were solid. That's the reality of who Chris Paul is nowadays. Nearly 14 points per game, still a really good assist man at 9 dimes per night, 37.5% from three-point range. That was considerably higher than what he did the year prior. And even though the points per game, assists per game went down just a tad, Chris Paul is still capable of giving you really effective 20 to 30 minutes per night and can be a prominent player on a championship level team. Now, we're talking about Chris Paul in today's show because it's certainly interesting when you think about his potential fit with the Golden State Warriors. I don't know how good of a fit it is. I think Chris Paul dictates the game because he likes to slow the game down, and that pace of play, which can be very, very quick and frenetic for Golden State, is not the pace of play that Chris Paul likes to play at. So frankly, in this Warriors system, I'm not sure how he would fit in just because he likes to slow it down and be the steady assist man and be the general on the floor, whereas the Warriors like to run and gun, and I just don't know how Chris Paul would fit on Golden State. But behind Steph Curry, they need another ball handler. I'm just not sure it's going to come in the form of CP3. Now let's shift gears to this Bleacher Report trade idea, proposing one trade for every team not in the NBA Finals. And the Warriors here would receive a player who we've talked a little bit about here on the program. That is OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors. His development over the last several years has been very impressive. I think the Raptors and the Heat, 2 of the best organizations over the last 5 or so years of developing players, and seeing them make strides has been paramount to their success. And you would get rid of Jordan Poole, who's really come under fire from not just the players on this team, really the entire organization. Raptors also receive Ryan Rollins, who the Dubs drafted last year, and a 2023 first-round pick, which is currently slotted at 19th overall. There's been some chatter about Golden State maybe using that 19th overall pick to move up in the draft this year. Of course, if that happens, we'll cover it here on the show. But because you're getting OG Anunoby, who's a very good two-way player, and I think is the best player in this trade, you probably have to include, indeed, that first-round selection. Here's what BR had to say about that trade. More thoughts on it coming up here. Anunoby, perhaps the best wing defender in the NBA, joins a front court with Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green that would get this defense back to an elite level. Also averaged nearly 17 points per game, shot 39% from 3. Young gives Golden State some additional front court depth because Thaddeus Young would be included in that trade as well, which we failed to mention, but there you go, Thaddeus Young in that deal as well. I really like OG Anunoby. He's still young. He signed this contract extension a few years ago, which isn't all that much money. he is a similar size and has a similar game to an Andrew Wiggins, but this is a Warriors team that needs to get better on the defensive end of the floor. That's something that really held them back, and they need more size. They need more athleticism. They need more youth on this roster, and they kind of got exposed against the Los Angeles Lakers in that second-round series. They were able to escape it thanks to Steph Curry heroics in that first round against Sacramento, a team that's long, athletic, and fast, but to do that sustainably, they really struggled to do that. Here would be the lineup after the trade. Not much would change in that starting five, actually. You would have Draymond Green maybe playing that 5 spot. So you would be a little bit undersized against teams with bigger centers out there. But Steph, not the greatest defender, but I think he's actually a little bit underrated with his anticipatory skills to get his way in the passing lanes and cause deflections and turnovers. Klay Thompson, not the elite defender that he was, but still could get the job done. Wiggins, Draymond, and OG Anunoby, though, versatility there with guarding out on the wing. So I am intrigued by that. Now, of course, if a trade does happen, we're going to cover it here on Golden State Warriors today. Last year, we had a historic stretch in which 30 to 40 straight videos were getting more than 30,000 views. We want to run it back this upcoming season. YouTube.com/WarriorsTV, or guess how you can do it even easier? Just hit that subscribe button down below. So that Bleacher Report trade idea included Thaddeus Young as well. Would you do this trade? Would you do it? In the shoes of, we're not sure who the general manager is going to be. Y for yes or N for no. Sound off with what you think. Before we continue to pivot forward on today's show, Warriors Today, sponsored by BetUS, the best sportsbook in the game, with the best deal that any sportsbook has to offer. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125 for a 125% deposit bonus. If you're catching this prior to Game 3, here are the odds for Game 3. The Nuggets, that line continues to favor Denver, -3.5 on the road as this series shifts back to Miami, and the over-under for this game at 213. You put in $100, you get $125 back. That's $225 to game with at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125. Jordan Poole to Utah. Let's talk about this before we hop on out of here today. Sports Illustrated pitching a trade involving Jordan Poole to the Utah Jazz. You think about what the Warriors get back here. Take a look at it. They get a big to make your front court a little bit deeper and a big who can stretch the floor. They have missed that element from their bigs. Draymond Green can't stretch the floor because he can't knock down three-pointers at this point of his career. Kevon Looney is not a shooter. I would like that new added wrinkle to the floor and to the roster for Golden State. He comes in off the bench, does Olynyk. He can play the 5, he can play the 4, he can shoot the 3, put the ball on the floor at least a little bit, and create for himself and his teammates. Also, that mid-range bunny is also pretty good. You also get Collin Sexton, who can break the defense down on that dribble drive and score at all 3 levels, and perhaps is a more efficient player on this team than Jordan Poole. And Poole gets a fresh start, goes to a team where he could probably play 35 minutes per night to 40 minutes per night and take 20 to 25 shots to get the offensive chances that he is probably seeking. This kind of seems like a steal for the Warriors. The money checks out because Sexton's on that deal. Jordan Poole's on that deal. Kelly Olynyk's making some money as well. Sports Illustrated on this trade. Poole struggles in the Warriors' second-round series. Might just be enough for their front office to start taking calls on him. Golden State still in win-now mode, and sitting through Poole's growing pains and inefficiencies, we still see him battle, with, is something the team simply does not have time for. And that's been a problem, a part of the predicament. Man, I'm struggling to talk here at the tail end of the show. Stick with me. I'm all good. I'll get it together and get it on track. We always do. So with Jordan Poole and with some of the young players on this Warriors roster, that's been an issue, drafting James Wiseman, drafting Jonathan Kuminga, as well as Moses Moody. Their lack of development and their timeline doesn't fit with the Warriors' timeline of trying to win an NBA championship. And when I talk about these things, it does make me think, did Bob Myers want to trade those picks and get a veteran to capitalize on this championship window? Did he want those young players to blend them with these veteran players, and he thought that that transition was going to be a little bit more seamless? Or was ownership on the other side, and whichever other side Bob Myers was on, that caused some friction, and then that caused Bob Myers to leave this team? Ideally, you can plan ahead for the future and you can win now, And the Warriors did win a championship 2 years ago, but James Wiseman was given up for pennies on the dollar. You got back Gary Payton II, right? And now there are trade rumors around Poole, trade rumors around Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and what happens with them as well. I want to see, and I'm interested to see, intrigued to see, fascinated to see in which direction the Warriors go in. Young players, or do they go all in on some veterans here because Steph Curry's 35 years old? Klay Thompson entering the final year of his contract. If Draymond Green comes back and signs an extension, he's getting older as well. Another reminder, subscribe to the show. 412 people away from 56,000 subscribers. We talk CP3, OG Anunoby, a Jordan Poole trade, and let's round out with Austin Reaves. We'll hit this quickly here. Could the Warriors be looking to trade for Austin Reaves? Austin Reaves is a player who has really burst onto the scene. UDFA, there's a lot of UDFA talk right now, undrafted free agent with what the Heat are doing with a lot of their players who were undrafted in a Duncan Robinson, a Gabe Vincent, and how they're able to really develop these players at a clip and see them develop right before our eyes. Max Strus, another one of them. This is a loaded trade in which Klay Thompson would go to the Lakers. Warriors would receive Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura, and a 2029 first-round pick. And Klay Thompson, going into that final year of his deal, goes to the Lakers on an expiring deal. The Lakers could use some shooting, and the Warriors could use youth, yes, athleticism, yes, but also players who can contribute right now. And that's what Reaves and Hachimura would bring to the table. Reaves was really good in the playoffs. In the regular season, 13 points per game on 53% shooting, almost 40% from three-point range. He is going to get a large contract. Word out of Los Angeles is they're going to max that offer sheet, which could come in around $100 million. I'm thinking maybe he gets that Jordan Poole type of contract. We will certainly see. Controversial question for sure, but Klay for Austin Reaves. Don't get mad at me. We're just talking about it, having fun. T for trade, P for pass. We want to hear from all of you. Let us know. Subscribe to the show, and we'll catch you next time.